ancient saying that goes, "When the student is ready, the master appears." Today I invite you to understand one of the most profound pillars of occult wisdom, the 7 Hermetic Principles, derived from the legendary Emerald Tablets, created by Hermes Trismegistus, also known as Thoth, the Egyptian god of wisdom. Each of these principles is a key, and together they form the master key that opens all the doors to the Temple of Mysteries. The Hermetic Principles are the framework upon which this universe was created. To understand these principles is to understand how the universe works. However, the one who masters these principles becomes the master of their own reality. You will notice that these principles complement each other, and that their order is not random. Now, prepare yourself to dive deep into Hermetic wisdom and enter the Temple of Mysteries. Today, we are going to delve into one of the fundamental pillars of Hermeticism, the first of the 7 Hermetic laws, known as the principle of mentalism. It states, "The all is mind, the universe is mental." This seemingly simple phrase holds a universe of implications within it. What does it truly mean to say, "The all is mind"? That the universe is ultimately a mental construct? That our experiences are mere reflections of our thoughts? Today, we will explore the true power behind this principle and its corroboration within modern physics. This principle not only opens the doors to the other 6 pillars of Hermes Trismegistus, but reveals to us a secret that completely transforms our way of seeing and interacting with the universe. When we affirm that the all is mind, we enter the mystery that the universe, all that is, was, and will be, is a manifestation of the universal mind, what Hindus call Vishnu's dream. Each of us is an intrinsic part of this manifestation. So, let us explore this deeply, for once we understand the first law, the doors to the mysteries of the spirit begin to open. To begin, it's essential to understand what this term, mentalism, means. According to the Kybalion, the most well-known book on Hermeticism, mentalism reveals that reality is not physical, nor made of solid, tangible matter as we might imagine. On the contrary, it is a mental construct, a creation of the universal mind, the all. Imagine that every element you see, touch, and feel is part of a vast mental projection, a vision many associate with the concept of the Matrix. This universe, which appears so concrete to us, is an elaborate construct that emerges from consciousness. The ancient masters of Hermeticism teach us that there is an unbreakable connection between our individual mind and this universal mind. In other words, we are sparks of the mind of the all. When you think, create, and imagine, you are using the power of a mind that is ultimately part of the universal consciousness. However, this profound thought raises a question. If we are sparks of the all, why do we feel so distant from the universal mind? What prevents us from perceiving this connection in our daily lives? And the answer lies in another Hermetic maxim. Our human mind, limited by experiences, conditioning, and individual perceptions, is obscured by the illusion of separateness. Various spiritual and philosophical traditions share this idea. Buddha taught that all that we are is the result of what we have thought. Our mind is everything. And this directly echoes the Hermetic principle. Today, science begins to tread a path that reveals the depths of the mind and its influence on reality. Physicist Max Planck, known as the father of quantum physics, stated, "I regard consciousness as fundamental. I regard matter as derivative from consciousness." The principle of mentalism finds a fascinating reflection in the famous double-slit experiment, first conducted by physicist Thomas Young in the early 19th century. and revisited with greater depth as quantum science advanced. The experiment is at first simple. A particle, such as an electron, is fired at a barrier with two slits. On the other side of the barrier, there's a screen to record the impact pattern of the particles. When scientists try to predict the behavior of this particle, something extraordinary happens. If no one observes the electron, it behaves like a wave, passing through both slits simultaneously and creating an interference pattern like ripples in a pond. However, upon introducing a measure to observe which slit the particle goes through, the electron decides to behave like a particle. It chooses only one of the slits, eliminating the interference pattern and creating a pattern that indicates a defined trajectory. This phenomenon reveals that, at a quantum level, the act of observing modifies reality. The observer seems to interfere with the essential nature of the particle, forcing it to choose a specific state. This phenomenon goes beyond materialistic understanding and opens the door to deeper interpretations of the relationship between mind and reality. The double-slit experiment confirms that observation, consciousness focused on a point, possesses the power to determine the state of things. And here lies the great teaching of the first Hermetic law. Reality is malleable, subjective, susceptible to the conscious mind that observes, interacts, and creates. This is what Hermes Trismegistus pointed to millennia ago. Imagine the mind as a vast ocean, where every thought, every observation acts like a stone tossed onto the water's surface, creating ripples and affecting everything around it. When you direct your attention to something, you throw that stone and create the movement, transforming potentiality into manifestation, like the electron that decides to be a particle instead of a wave. This is the mental power that the Hermetic principle speaks of. The first Hermetic law reveals to us that the mind is the key to creation. But what happens when the power of this mind, our deepest and most creative force, is dispersed and weakened? We live in an era where human attention has become the most coveted resource. Our energy, once focused on conscious creation, is being manipulated and consumed. And this is no accident. In a world where our ability to create reality depends on the strength of our attention, controlling where that attention is directed becomes a form of power. Modern distractions, social media, constant notifications, advertising, and an endless stream of information act as silent thieves of our mental energy. This fragmentation of the mind distances us from our creative essence and transforms us into mere reactors instead of authors of our own experiences. Studies show that the excess of information and constant stimuli alter our ability to concentrate and memorize in a lasting way, impairing our ability to maintain focus. Over time, the mind loses its sharpness and clarity. It's as if our mental strength is a blade, and daily distractions wear it down, making it less sharp and effective. The average person's attention span is now comparable to that of a betta fish. In Hermetic teachings, attention is seen as a tool for creation. Imagine it as the concentrated light of a magnifying glass. When your attention is focused, you can concentrate all the energy on a single point, intensifying and manifesting what you desire. But when that light is dispersed, we lose the power to transform and direct our path. We become passive observers, submerged in a torrent of superficial stimuli. In addition to fragmenting focus, modern distractions subtly shape our subconscious. Everything we see and hear, even if it seems irrelevant, leaves a mark on our minds. In the silence of our unconscious, this information accumulates, forming beliefs, fears, and behavior patterns. And as we have seen, the subconscious is a powerful creator of reality. By absorbing information imposed upon us without filtering, we allow our beliefs and values to be programmed by external agents. Instead of nurturing ideas aligned with our true essence, we allow others' realities to impose on ours. Philosopher Aldous Huxley observed that distraction will be the most effective means of control over man. And he was right. A scattered being with unconsciously shaped beliefs does not have the power to shape their own reality. The key to regaining control of your reality lies in regaining control of your mind. And for that, nothing is more powerful than meditation. When we speak of reclaiming control of the mind, meditation emerges as an essential practice. The first Hermetic law teaches us that the mind is the matrix from which all is created. However, a scattered mind, constantly in motion and subject to external influences, loses its ability to focus and intend. To meditate, then, is the path to gather attention and direct it, like a lens focusing light on a single point, until it becomes capable of igniting fire. In Hermetic practice, meditation is a return to zero point, the space where nothing and everything coexist. This state is the gateway to accessing our creative power, for only in a state of stillness and full presence does the mind find the balance to become a true tool for conscious creation. Meditation acts as a workout for the mind, strengthening our attention span. By sitting in silence, focusing on the breath or a point of internal observation, you are gradually breaking the cycle of distraction that dominates modern life. You are teaching the mind to remain in a state of presence, of non-reactivity. Every time a thought arises and is consciously set aside, you regain a bit of control over your mind. Imagine attention as a muscle. The more you exercise it, the stronger it becomes. Likewise, regular meditation increases the mind's capacity to focus, stabilize, and resist external distractions, reclaiming its creative potential and freeing itself from the chains of external influences. In addition to improving control over the conscious mind, meditation is also one of the most powerful ways to access the subconscious. In large part, it is the subconscious that dictates what we manifest. Therefore, if we want to transform our reality, we must dive into the depths of our subconscious and dissolve the beliefs, fears, and traumas that block our creative power. During meditation, we enter states of deep relaxation that connect us with the subconscious. In moments of stillness, old emotions and patterns emerge to be seen and finally transcended. This process is fundamental to aligning the conscious mind with the subconscious, making it an ally in creating the desired reality. When we purify our subconscious, we eliminate the blocks that unconsciously sabotage us, making space for clarity and focus in our intentions and creations. At the heart of these teachings, we understand that the universe we perceive, with all its complexities and nuances, is ultimately a projection of our minds. But what happens when most of this creation originates from an unknown, barely explored region within us? The subconscious is the vast ocean where thoughts and beliefs that we often ignore are contained. Yet it paradoxically shapes our perception and consequently our reality in profound ways. It is the deep layer of the mind that does not operate through reason or direct logic, but through symbols, memories, and emotions. Here lie the roots of experiences, perceptions, and beliefs that sustain our worldview. Imagine the subconscious as a video camera, recording every moment, every emotion, every word, and every image since the earliest years of life. This constant recording goes beyond what you consciously perceive, as it also carries an emotional interpretation. It records fears, joys, insecurities. Each memory and emotion, once fixed in the subconscious, begins to create invisible molds that determine how you will view the world, your relationships, and even your possibilities for success and fulfillment. If the subconscious is the great mold of our reality, we need to understand how it directly influences what we experience. Limiting beliefs are ideas deeply rooted in the subconscious that generate restrictions on what we consider possible or attainable. For instance, someone who believes, even unconsciously, that they are not deserving of love may unconsciously push away people who genuinely love them, sabotaging their relationships. These limiting beliefs operate like hidden programs that bind us to patterns and repetitive cycles, preventing our conscious mind from fully manifesting the realities we desire. They work like filters, distorting our perception of the world and creating a kind of mirror that reflects not what we desire, but what we truly believe is possible. This mirror reflects, without censorship, the content of the subconscious, revealing shadows and illusions that remain hidden. By understanding how the subconscious influences our reality, we can begin the process of intentional reprogramming. This practice requires patience and repetition, as the subconscious is like fertile soil that needs to be plowed, nurtured, and cared for. Positive affirmations, visualizations, and meditative practices help remove deeply rooted beliefs and replace limiting patterns with a new vision of oneself. For example, if seeking abundance in your life, you must identify and dissolve beliefs like, "I am not worthy," or "the world is scarce." Then, through affirmations and visualizations, you plant new seeds like, "I am worthy of abundance," and "the universe is generous." Over time, this new programming begins to manifest in reality, as the subconscious is trained to respond to what it receives with repetition and emotion. Emotions are the fuel of the subconscious mind. They intensify the impression of beliefs and experiences, shaping reality with intense creative force. When you feel something deeply, this emotion becomes a message to the subconscious, which replicates this experience in your life. If you want to cultivate confidence, for example, visualize yourself in situations where you act with security and determination. Feel this confidence flowing through your body as if it were already true. The subconscious does not distinguish the real from the imagined, and thus it begins to accept this new emotional impression as part of its programming, reflecting it in your reality. Through reprogramming, self-knowledge, and the cultivation of elevated emotions, we can access the full potential of our subconscious mind, transforming it from a territory of shadows and limitations into a creative ally, capable of guiding us to our highest purpose. The first Hermetic law reveals to us that we are co-creators of our reality. Our mind is a temple, and what we create within this temple inevitably reflects in the external world. When we allow our attention to be taken by distractions, we cease to be the masters of this temple and become its servants. But by cultivating attention, practicing meditation, and diving into our subconscious, we can reclaim the reins of creation. We can choose what we want to see flourish in our inner garden, and consequently, in the garden of the universe around us. Thank you for watching.